us with clear guidelines, with clear times, asking the executive through their head to execute the recommendation without fear or favor. Of course, constitutional provision, the NAO is mandated to send the report to IGP to do follow-up. I wouldn't really waste the time of these chambers. I'm in agreement with you, but I can assure you this will not be the wish of every government. But of course, we have to learn from our mistakes. This might not be intention, but of course, people need to change their attitudes. When you're entrusted with leadership position, when you're entrusted with the position to change people's life, you have sworn to make sure that you represent them to the best of your ability, and you take out of office that will guide you in your conscience. So I want the FPAC committee, officially, we, the entire chambers, passing a resolution for the implementation of these particular documents to be served, to serve the head of state with it, and also NAO with a clear, time frame that these things are supposed to be, executed. Governance is not on the side of only the executive. The three arms of government constitute government. So we have to help in terms of salvaging this nation. And that is the trajectory we found ourselves in. So the onus lies on us, Parliament. The hope of the poor, the hope of the governed lies in Parliament. When Parliament is compromised, the future is compromised. So therefore, Parliament is about to make history today by making all things right, to put records straight, that people who try to dribble the system, thinking that they are well-known in terms of mathematics or well-known in terms of, beating the system, there is certainly a day Parliament has reached that you will face the consequences. The devil, the bargain of the devil comes with a hefty price, and that's the price ministries, parastatals are paying today. So I implore everybody that took the floor today, it's manifest that everybody has Gambia at heart. The Parliament has really reaped that the trust and confidence bestowed in us to represent them here is not swayed, is not been betrayed. And that is why everybody has been disheartened. Both the majority side and the minority side is a cause for concern. Taxpayers' money should not go in vain. It is to be used to transform their lives and their livelihood. So, Honorable Speaker, it is based on those respect. I submit my entire support, pass resolutions here, and also make sure that those resolutions are also implemented. Officially serve the head of states, and I can assure you he's up to the task to make sure that every recommendation here is being implemented. Thank you so much for enjoying it.
Thank you very much, Honorable Majority Leader and Member for Kantora. I now invite the Honorable Member for Nyamina West.
Thank you very much, Speaker. I just want to join my colleagues to say a big thank to the committee responsible. At this juncture, I don't know what happened for me coming last after the majority. And I have been alarming. I have raised my tax earlier before the majority. But all have been said. After the majority have said, he has spoken well. I am only here to join you and say a big thanks to the committee. It's a job well done, and I'm in agreement of all that my colleagues have said here. So that being the case, I rest my case.
Honorable Member, your name came last after the Honorable Member for Kantora.
Table office is responsible. Sini knows what I'm
I never even wanted to put it down because it came in so late that I said to him, he said yes, he said his hand was up. So I think that was, next time you make sure that you're noticed.
Sorry.
I now invite the Honorable nominated member, Keba Lam Fofana.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. And I wouldn't stay long on the floor. Initially, I was asking myself, do you debate on your own report? And I didn't want to. But having listened to the members, I believe there are certain salient points that we definitely need to buttress on so that we can enhance the efficiency of the report. So I will straight away refer the House to page 56. I promise you, Honorable Speaker, I wouldn't do any repetition. Any point that was deliberated on, I wouldn't touch it. We can go straight to page 56. Page 56, point 3.19.2, class of expected outputs not in the budget estimates. The findings are the Ministry of Finance is required to disclose the expected activities of ministries, departments, and agencies during the preparation of annual budget estimates. Honorable Speaker, I'm highlighting this point based on the notion that the budget we are told should be based on program-based budgeting. But the auditors are highlighting that is not the case. So which means, even though the current report we are having, we have seen gross misappropriation of public funds. But let's ask ourselves, if at all the budget itself was based on activities, it was time-bound, and the auditors were availed with the opportunity to assess those expenditures based on what they are output, the magnitude could have been higher than this. So I'm appealing to this House to ensure that program-based budgeting is prioritized so that the auditors will have the opportunity to do performance audit, so that we, the parliamentarians as well, after passing the appropriation bill, we can go back to our various communities, we can go back to our various consequences and say, look, in this line item, the 2 million, which has been what budgeted here, is for a road from point A to point B. Is it there or not? This particular one was intended to buy what? 10 units of furniture for school Y, X, Y, Z. Was it done or not? Was it done? Yes. Was it done during the relevant time or the stipulated time? So this is very, very important. And year in, year out, what we are seeing is an incremental budget. Last year it was 13 billion. This year it will be 14 billion. But what it is supposed to do in actual terms, apart from the personal emoluments, the rest, you don't know. That cannot continue. Even at our home, when we give out, Honorable Speaker, sorry for speaking Wolof, but when we give out the fish money that we call depans, at the end of the day, we hope to see what? Lunch on the table. If you give out fish money and at the end of the day, you don't find lunch on the table, what do? You complain. But here we are, year in, year out, will be what? Approving budgets. But the purposes of those budgets are not what? Made clear. So budgets should be activity-based and they should be time-bound. The question was asked to the minister, and what he said, that was during the mid-year review. What he said was, it is the responsibility of the ministries, departments, and what? Agencies. So now, during the budget bilaterals, all the committees will meet their what? Sectoral ministries. It becomes the responsibility of the entire House to make sure that when the ministries, departments, and agencies come and start lobbying to either increase their budget, let me not even say increase, they will always lobby for increments on their budgets. Let us make sure as parliamentarians, we maintain our stand for them to give us what? Indicators. You need 10 million? Where is this 10 million going? Why should it go there? What do we expect to realize out of it? When are you going to do it? And at the end of the day, what yardstick do I use to really evaluate your performance? Honorable Speaker, the other component I want to talk about will be procurement. There are two things embedded in it. and both leads to one conclusion. One is the compliance issue. If you look at the report, majority of the components, the main reason why the auditors cannot come up with actionable points is the ministries, departments, and agencies will always be flouting the procurement rules. Contracts will start before approval is what? Granted. Contracts will be based on pre-finance, and at the end of the day, you will realize that payment will be done in what? Lump sum. Instead of scheduled dates for what? Payment, or based on what? Certificate of what? Completion, which are all compliance issues. But these compliance issues, when you follow them, they are the ones that will lead to what? Monetary losses. But if you look at the report, many a times where compliance issues arise, we find it very difficult to make any tangible recommendations because the auditors will not be in a position to quantify any money to what? Losses. So what I want to say here is, I want to seek the indulgence and the support of this House that while we are going through this report, wherever we find issues of compliance, let us not take it lightly. Even though the monetary equivalence will not be expressed, it's because the auditors do not want to speculate. But as a House, we should ensure that it doesn't happen in the future. And Honorable Speaker, since I promised that I wouldn't repeat anything, so I wouldn't go to page 83 to 89, I would refer the House straight to page 92 before concluding. Let's go to page 92, number 20. That particular one also was not discussed by anyone. Number 20 says, the Ministry of Finance and Justice must review government's engagement with gumworks by October 2023 to safeguard public interest. Honorable Speaker, this one is very, very important. As a committee, we know that legal opinions were served from the Parliament here and also from the Ministry of Justice, citing Section 175 of the Constitution, which goes to say that as per Section 175 of the Constitution, gumworks doesn't qualify to be a public enterprise, and as such, they are exempted from bringing their reports to the Parliament. But Honorable Speaker, why are we making this recommendation? We know that gumworks was incorporated in 1993 by the government of the Gambia. And their sole mandate is to make sure that efficiency is derived from all government projects and its partners. Which means gumworks, as per the virtue of its incorporation, is treading on government goodwill. Goodwill is an intangible asset, and it has a value. Which means there is government stake in gumworks. I wouldn't like to conclude for this honorable House, but what I am saying here is, it should be our noble responsibility to make sure that wherever government have interest in, we protect it. But as it stands now, gumworks is exempted from presenting its accounts to FPAC. And we also know that they were presenting their accounts up to 2016. One can argue that they were forced by a dictatorial regime. But I'd rather be a dictator to safeguard the public interest than be a Democrat and allow private individuals to go with what belongs to the state. And Honorable Speaker, to conclude, I want to cite Section 162 of the Constitution. Section 102 of the Constitution states that additional functions of the National Assembly. With your permission, Honorable Speaker, it says, in addition to the other powers conferred on the National Assembly by this Constitution or any other law, the National Assembly may, Honorable Speaker, with your permission, I want to skip A, B, C, D, and go to E, which is relevant to my submission. E says, advise the President on any matter which lies within his or her responsibility. Honorable Speaker, which means sharing resolutions of the National Assembly with the President. It's a constitutional dictate. I want to say this. When we pass this resolution, as a committee, let us take it to the President. We are not saying he decides for the committee. No. We are committing him with evidence. We are committing him as an equal arm of what? Government to the executive. As a people today, we must transcend beyond political ideologies and know that we have a country to govern. Many a times we'll stand on this floor of this parliament and we'll say, yes, corruption is going on. But can anybody in this parliament, from the 5th legislature up till date, any committee, stand here and say, for once, we fulfill this provision of the Constitution and send our resolutions to the what? Executive. I stand to be challenged with evidence. But we've passed that level. What I want to propose is, this resolution is very, very important, and we cannot allow it to fail. A lot have been said in the morning. Repeating them would not add any value. Now, what we need to do is to work out concrete modalities which gives no room to failure by engaging all partners towards one interest, that should be the full implementation of any resolution that will be derived from this report. On that note, Honorable Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you very much, Keba Alam Fofana. Honorable program-based budgeting, FPAC is the lead eye of the National Assembly in any financial matter. So I think you people, to ensure value for money audit, you people must take the lead and ensure that we have that type of budgeting that will be activity-based. I think you people should take the lead. You will always have the support of the National Assembly. As regards GAMWorks also, GAMWorks had been a problem for long. But as you said, I mean, it's either to review, because as per their what do I call it? Act, whatever it may be, they seem to dodge coming to face the FPAC. But it's created by Parliament, it's created by government. It can be looked into and the recommendations made to see which one is our best interest. You know, it's completely and wholly funded by government, though it has some agreement types with the external donors. So we look at it and you make the necessary recommendations. I'm sure Parliament will always lend their support to you for the good of our people. Honorable members, I think that marks the end of the 30 speakers that took part. I now have the pleasure to call on the mover of the motion to respond to issues and wind up the debate. Honorable Member for Bikama North and Minority Leader.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I think it has been a long day, and therefore to respond to each and every member point by point will take us another 2 to 3 hours. And I believe I will make general response on thematic issues that were highlighted. Let me in the first place thank each and every one of you for the time that you have taken to be with us and participated in the debate. For those who could not make it, I know in spirit you are with us. Let me commend you as well. And for the institutions who have their representatives here with us up to this point in time, we have to commend them. By that way, let me remind them that this is an extension of the committee proceedings. There is no point in time when we have committee meetings with institutions, they should leave before the finish of business. Why, when we are laying the reports concerning those meetings, they acted otherwise. The Honorable Speaker, this should form strongly, I want to remind my colleagues as part of the recommendations that henceforth, when reports are being laid that concerns institutions, they should stay and wait for the debate to be concluded. It is out of respect to the National Assembly. It is like what others say, the report is just for the sake of reporting. Nothing will come out of it. And that's why they've decided so to leave. But I can tell you, we will prove them wrong. We are not making this report for the sake of reporting. If we report on the resolutions that were passed earlier on, you will know that we are not toothless dogs that can only bark but cannot bite. We'll prove to you that we mean business is going to be business. Honorable Speaker, I think adherence had been mentioned over and over in cases where we had a violation adhering to especially GPPA. And I want to make that a point, not to the honorable member who said that we are not capturing not adherence in the report. Recommendations are never implemented. That was notion generally expressed. Yes, but we have started with our resolutions and we are implementing this, going to continue. And other committees also are doing the same. Let's prove everybody wrong that is going to be a total different game. Our recommendations will be implemented. For ECFA resolutions, somebody mentioned that we passed resolutions and they were not implemented, or we have not received any outcome of the implementation. We did state in the report that we are working with the Accountant General and then the Auditor General on the implementation of the resolutions, in particularly on the unretired impress. I can tell you progress has been made as far as the recoveries are concerned. If you allow us December, you'll be very happy with the progress that has been made as far as unretired impress are concerned. In fact, we have not limited ourselves to from 2005 to 2016, but we've gone beyond that up to 2021. I can tell you as at now, very few impress are given to institutions, and they are adequately responding in retiring their impress. Deductions are taking place on those who are found wanting and they are in the payroll. FPAC to report at least twice a year. That is our plan. We intend to do periodic reporting. We were constrained by the workload. That's why 3 attempts were made to do those periodic reportings. We could not. Now it is part of our programs that we should have a periodic reporting and our annual reporting. We could not attain to the periodic one, and it's the annual one. But we can promise you, after this one, we'll go by our periodic reporting, and it's going to be sectorial. When we finish with a particular sector, we'll be reporting before we get our annual report. Somebody mentioned that we should extract the COVID-19 phase or second phase and then merge with the second phase. And it does not make any difference. When we presented the COVID-19 first phase, it was alluded that the resolution on that will await the outcome of the second resolution, and we are going to mark the two. So we are going to have one resolution as far as the COVID-19 response are concerned, both the first phase and then the second phase. On the issue of missing foodstuff, somebody asked whether there can be any stock balance as far as the food supplies are concerned. Well, that is a query. There are supposed to be balances. Now, these balances are not available, and that's why we request for someone to account for those missing foodstuff. The report, we are linear according to some views that are not very strong. I think if you look at the report holistically, you will find that there are issues that people are found wanting, and we request that timeline is given, that action be taken. If nothing is done against that time, action will be taken. And there are areas, for example, that has to do with the government accounts. We indicated in our recommendations, if the government accounts is stable, the heads of departments or institutions should be present to assist the Accountant General in responding to queries. In situations of that nature, there are instances where the Accountant General could not provide response to certain audit queries after the audit query report been sent, and the heads of institutions or department are not available. Therefore, what we need to do is to send them for them to do an explanation or provide evidence on those audit queries with a timeline. Failure to do so, then action can be taken. Unlike institutional reports, the heads of departments, the board members are present. When there are queries against a certain entity, they respond to those queries. If auditors are satisfied, then the queries can be cleared. But where these people are not available on government accounts, we have to send to them for explanation on those queries and evidence. If nothing is done, then those queries will still remain stand. On COVID-19, somebody also mentioned that whether there had been pledges that should have received and did not receive, or beneficiaries and then did not receive. Yes, what we indicated in the report is that there were villages in, I think, Upper Salem, that did not receive any food supply, but it was not mentioned that they were beneficiaries. There were villages that did not receive the food supply. And it's very interesting to note that in that particular region, there were remaining food stock when there were villages that did not receive. How that came about is a question one has to ask. And that's why we call for those balance of food stock at the governor's office to be accounted for. Sanctions should be taken to all those who are found wanting. Yes, that's part of the recommendation. And that the funds that are missing should be refunded, or the funds that are unretired, the retired interest should also be recovered. I think the committee is in the process of that, as I said earlier on. The missing vouchers, yes, when vouchers are missing, we give them the opportunity to make available those missing vouchers. Otherwise, the vote controllers and the timeline that is given, you say 72 hours. Somebody sent whether within the 72 hours, those missing vouchers will be made available. That is what we believe. If they are not produced within the 72 hours, we can find the vote controllers wanting. The list of total misappropriation or mismanagement of funds, I think two honorable members talk about that, Combo South and then Wule East. That will be a very difficult task, but we try to work towards and see whether we can attend to that, to get the comprehensive list of the total fund that has been mismanaged or misappropriated. I think binary report, somebody mentioned, that is noted, and then a quarterly report or a quarterly report as well. Those are points that were raised by other members before, and precisely my attention has been drawn to Brikama Area Council. I think we make certain recommendations on Brikama Area Councils on areas that they are found wanting as far as the audit queries are concerned. And we ask the auditors to ensure that the accounts, that is both the closing and then the opening balances where we have discrepancies for the coming audit report, so that that can be regularized. And then where the committee heard from Brikama Area Council that their new complex building was not satisfactory.
Sorry, observation. Can I observe?
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you, Honorable Chair. I think you are on track. The only observation I want to make on that is a general problem, a general finding across all councils. So the recommendation to the auditors is to make those reconciliations for all councils across the board. Thank you, Honorable Chair. You may proceed.
Very much. And as he said earlier on, we mentioned it in Brikama Area Council, but again, generally, on all council, it also came up as an issue. Then it was also a general recommendation on all council. Then Basse Area Council, this is a council where we could not have the interface with due to the absence of the chairperson of the council. I request that the council should provide a report for the consideration of the committee. I think NDMA, we have been mentioning on MDMA on issues that is regarding the food stock that was not supplied, and we believe were in stock. And we found the executive director wanting to be accountable as far as those remaining food stock are concerned. Honorable members, before I conclude, I have taken note of the concerns of members on resolutions. All the talking points that you have raised, our team have dotted, and we want to make this recommendation to give us up to Thursday. We'll be working on the resolution to be presented and for your consideration and adoption. And this will be the added recommendation to point number 22 now to 23. FPAC to prepare and submit comprehensive resolution on the report for presentation to the plenary for its consideration and adoption on or before Thursday, 14 September 2023. Already we've started, but we need time to comprehensively complete that work so that we have comprehensive resolution attached to this report. As somebody mentioned for the first time, not only to be sent to institutions, but to the President of the Republic for diligence to be taken so that those who thought that this report is just for the sake of reporting, we will prove you wrong. And I want the President of the Republic to listen to me very carefully. I took note of those who were trying to compare the former regime and the present regime regarding the government's stance on FPAC report. And I hope and pray that it's going to be the same approach as far as the FPAC report is concerned. FPAC is the National Assembly. Without FPAC, let's pack our books and then go. And I believe due diligence will be given to this report, not only by institutions, but the President of the Republic to whom we will submit this report. On that note, honorable colleagues, I want to take this opportunity to thank you all for the participation and the time that you have taken. To the Honorable Speaker, the whole day you are sitting, guiding us to present this report. I can say this will go down to the history of this August Assembly. I am not saying that we have never presented a report of this nature, but we can boast and be proud of this report that the 6th legislature has presented. On that note, I thank you all.
May I observe you, please? May I observe you, please? Yeah. Honorable, I think in your submission you made.
Problem? Ma'am?
No,
Is he the one talking?
Honorable Speaker,
Sorry, honorable member. Yes.
I think formally I need to pass a motion for this additional point to be added to the recommendation. I want to pass a motion to amend the report for adding this particular, the 23rd recommendation to the report. With your permission, Honorable Speaker. With amendment. No, but I have to pass it first.
Okay, okay. Mover of the motion. May we hear members? They were, yes, Woolley East, and then.
You know, we're just saying that if we adopt the report with amendment, that will suffice.
I've not heard you.
I'm saying if we adopt the report with amendments, that should suffice.
Member for Upper Salon.
Yeah, it's on the same lines. If we adopt it with amendments, either or is okay. Because the only amendment we are aware of, that's what he said on number 2.
Member for Lower Salon.
yeah, actually, Honorable Speaker, on his submissions, he mentioned that all of them left. I've just tried to put him, Brigama is here, MDM is here, and Bassi. They are around.
Okay, honorable member. I think what you will note, there were a lot of things mentioned by honorable members that should beef up your report. And I'm sure you have captured most of them, including the one you want to propose. So I think we just adopt it with the amendments, and then you capture it all. Would that do for you, honorable member?
That's okay. That's okay.
Here? Yeah, Kian West.
Wouldn't it be important to, because all the amendments were said during debate, and he has also proposed one. But the one he wanted to point out, we didn't know what is that amendment.
No, we know it. We know it, and we want him to include it and all other ones for the good of everybody.
For me, I don't know.
So with the amendments, even if they have new thoughts that would beef it up and give it the necessary weight, we will not mind it.
Member for Fonyi Binta. Yes. Honorable Speaker, I want to beg from your office to at least thank these people that have tirelessly stayed here with us, the few of them, please.
Honorable minority, I think that's okay with you. Okay. Honorable members, I think we must, let me just put the question and then I come to thank. Honorable members, I now put the question that this Honorable Assembly be resolved that this Honorable Assembly do adopt the report of the Finance and Public Accounts Committee on the 2019 Audited Accounts of Government, Auditor General's report on COVID-19 response, Phase 2, annual activity reports, and audited financial statements of public agencies, institutions, area and municipal councils, as amended. Those in favor, please say aye. Those not in favor, please say no. The ayes have it. Honorable members, I must be honest and thank the members of FPAC for a job well done. You have done a brilliant job and is ably tabled by the chairman. And the honorable members did justice to the report. The good side of it is all honorable members spoke one language, which is a signal to Gambians. Everybody spoke one language, whether this or that side, meaning Gambia first, and the Gambians who sent us here, their wish be done. That's what we all talked about. And as you rightly said, Parliament can always ensure that their recommendations are carried out. It's an institution that's only answerable and accountable to the people. And it's an institution that all other institutions are answerable and accountable to. Either collectively or individually, they can be called on and they will answer. So I think it's a job well done. I hope, and what I will advise, honorable member, is you've heard all opinions. And then I'm sure all what we want is well-framed resolutions and good recommendations that we will be more than pleased to adopt and see that it is done. Honorable members, let's be sure also that we don't allow recurrent issues coming. There were recommendations over the period on simple issues, administrative issues, accounting issues, simple ones. And year in, year out, the same things will happen. Those things should not be tolerated. And I think we will do justice, hopefully, that when your resolutions are ready, it will be carried out. I also want to thank members from the various area councils. I think it's Brikama, Basse, and where? Pardon? NDMA. Yeah, I want to thank you on behalf of both sides of Parliament. They've recognized you, and you've been here throughout. And we recognize that, and we applaud you for that. We definitely are not happy with those who saw their faces only to go away before we finalized. But nonetheless, that will not prevent us from carrying out with our job. So thank you very much. And I want to thank the clerk and his staff. We have a competent core of assembly service members who can always guide us through. Honorable members, I now put the question. Be resolved that this August Assembly do stand adjourned until Tuesday, 12 September 2023. Those in favor, please say aye. Not in favor, please say no. The ayes have it. The Assembly now stand adjourned until Tuesday, 12 September 2023 at 10 a.m. prompt. Usually, the last statement carries the time.